Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone that's watching. Anyone that's watching us on YouTube. Welcome to support group. So before I even begin, I just wanted to make some announcements. In the front where the signing sheet is, if you can please make sure that you sign in, because that's the way for us to keep track of all the people that come by to our support groups. And we have 2 classes that we've already done, which are yoga and a cooking class. And we have the next date already set up for both of them. The flyer is in the front, so if you are interested in participating in any of those, please take a flyer with you. You can register by scanning the QR code, or you can go to our website and go underneath the tab that says About, and then you go to Classes and Events, and you'll find the yoga class and the bariatric cooking class. The first cooking class, did anyone that's here come to that cooking class? I don't think so. But we had a chef come in, and it was fantastic. We made some nice chicken breast, we made some roasted asparagus, we made a sweet potato cinnamon puree, we made some very low carb, low sugar, high protein yogurt parfait, and it was fantastic. This time, guess who's going to be the chef? Yes. I took 2 classes, that sounds so little. 2 years of culinary arts. I have an associate's degree in culinary arts. I went to Johnson & Wales University, which is a well-known cooking university, culinary arts university. And before I went to this program, I'm going to be honest to you, I had no cooking skills at all. I grew up, my mom, single mom, and it was mashed potatoes from a box kind of thing, and she did what she could. Now she's a fantastic cook, and she cooks from scratch, and it's fantastic. But those skills I didn't develop when I was growing up, and I knew I wanted to go into a field related to food and nutrition. And when I found out about this university, I saw that they offer this culinary arts program for 2 years, and then you could apply for the nutrition bachelor's degree and go the like kind of dietitian route. So I thought that was a perfect match for me. What I'm trying to say is that in this culinary arts program, I learned a lot of skills, but I'm no expert. I admit that. And the thing is that I love cooking, and every time I go to the kitchen, I don't let the fact that I'm not an expert stop me. And even if a recipe seems like a bit challenging, I do it. And with trial and error, I've noticed that we improve with our cooking skills, and that's what's important. So in this next cooking class, that's going to be the first week of June. It's always going to be the first Tuesday of the month, the cooking class. I'm going to prepare some nice fish in a cooking technique that is very, very easy in the oven. I'm going to prepare some Puerto Rican beans, because I'm from Puerto Rico, that's my heritage. So I'm going to do that flavor into those, so hopefully that gives you exposure to different kind of beans, because beans is such a big part of, you know, it's one of those protein foods that we really highly recommend for our bariatric patients. And you get tired of eating beans the same way over and over, so it's exciting, I think, to try different types. And I'll continue bringing up more recipes. I plan for future classes to continue inviting local chefs, so it's not just going to be me. I'm going to invite Jennifer Way, the dietitian at the NGPG office, and I'm going to invite Sheena from the Longstreet Clinic office. So we're all going to collaborate in trying to make this cooking class dynamic, different, bring in different types of cultures and cuisine, but still making sure that it follows perfectly the guidelines for our weight loss surgery patients. Okay, so if you're interested, please grab the flyers for both the yoga and the cooking class, and we'd be glad to have you there. Okay, today I prepared a support group that's going to be based on protein bars, as you can see. In one of my support groups, a patient asked me a question, and I think I remember who it was, and it's sitting in this class, so that's good, about protein bars. And, you know, there's so much to learn about protein bars because the way that manufacturers prepare them and box them and make it look really pretty, it might seem like it's healthy, but there's a variety of things that we need to keep an eye on to make sure that we're making a good choice with our protein bars. There are specific guidelines, and I have them up here for you to kind of keep an eye on when you're trying to choose a protein bar. These are good guidelines to follow. So you want a protein bar to have more than 12 grams of protein, okay? You want it to have between 12 to 22 grams of carbohydrates. And just to clarify, carbohydrates, it's that part in the nutrition facts label that says total carbohydrate, okay? So that means carbohydrate is a fancy word for a type of food that when we consume it and digest it and metabolize it, we turn it into small particles of sugar in our bodies, okay? There's different kinds of carbohydrates. There's starches, there's sugars, okay? So when you look at total carbohydrate, that's encompassing all the types of sugars and carbohydrates present in that granola bar. And that's something that you want to make sure to look at. And these examples that I put up there, most of them are here, not all of them, include Think Thin, Quest, Power Crunch, Pure Protein, Simple Truth. Those are some examples. But before, and it's great to write these down, but before you decide on one, wait until I tell you all about them, because there are certain things that bars have that we might not think about that could be contributing to some weird GI symptoms and things like that. So it's important to really understand what to look at when you're looking for a granola bar. So now, protein bar, sorry, I'm saying granola bar and it's protein bar, correct. So those are the guidelines. And if you're using this as a snack, you can have half of the bar, okay? That helps keep the calories in check. I know that depending on the practice that you are with, you get different recommendations. So remember, here our bariatric weight loss program, we have surgeons from NGPG group and we have surgeons from Longstreet Clinic. And every surgeon, each practice has some differences in their recommendations and protocol, okay? So I want to make sure that I tell this so that if there's anyone from Longstreet Clinic or anyone from NGPG, they're aware of that. The NGPG office, they recommend patients to have their meals and like 4 to 5 small meals throughout the day. But the Longstreet Clinic, they recommend to stick to your 3 meals a day, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you're nodding, I assume you're in the Longstreet Clinic group? Okay. Yes. So the protein bar, for those that are from the Longstreet Clinic, I just want to share that there are times in life where you weren't able to plan appropriately, you're on the go, and I think that instead of skipping a meal or choosing something that is doesn't have a good nutrition in it, that may be very high calorie, I think having these in the back of your pocket is very, very helpful. Okay? But again, if you're working with Longstreet Clinic, then you want to follow the nutrition guidelines that they recommend, but I still think it's important that we share this information for kind of those emergency situations so that you have something available that is good nutrition, okay? Now, of course, this is going to require some tasting because you can't just choose a bar because of the numbers that it says. If it looks great, it follows all the guidelines, but it tastes horrible, I mean, that's not a bar that you want to choose. So as we talk about each one, I'm gonna invite you guys, well, actually, I didn't think about this, but whoever doesn't want to be recorded, let me know and I'll bring a sample for you. If that's not a concern, you can come up here and grab for the first one, which is the Quest bar. We'll be talking about this one. So raise your hand who wants me to bring you a sample, and I'll put a couple here in the plate and bring them over to you. All right. And don't be shy. Come on up and grab a sample.
Now?
Yeah.
You want to come now?
Yeah. Because as we talk about the bar, I want you to taste it. Oh, sorry. And you can even take a plate and grab one from each one. I think that's easier. Yeah. So that way you already have it with you. You don't have to stand up. Yeah, I'll bring you a whole plate. Let's do that. Just get one of each.
Oh, that's awful. I've been on it for 4 weeks or 5.
Let me know if we run out of anything. I can open more. Yeah. This is gonna, all these, yes, I was going to say, these pieces are probably gonna build up into about half a bar to 3/4 of a bar.
Okay.
And one, I've never seen those before. Are those
And
available
yeah.
at any place or?
Yeah, so I bought all of these in the pharmacy section in Walmart, but I have someone here that says that found a good deal for the Quest bars. Can you share that information with us?
So go on the GNC website and you buy $50 worth of free shipping. And it's a lot cheaper if you buy them, it's 12 in a box. And they have 20 different flavors. You go on the website and I'll show you all the flavors they have. If you buy $50 worth of free shipping. And I just got maybe one of those chocolate Quest bars and they are to die for. The chocolate brownie, the chocolate chip cookie, and a double chocolate. You like chocolate.
Okay.
Woo.
Wow.
But I'm burning only half of
So
the time.
the idea was to start tasting the brownie one. I already see people going through the third one. Just remember what you're tasting so that when I talk about it, you know which one that related to. That's okay. So the first one I was gonna talk about was the brownie, but let me make sure anyone else needs any that doesn't want to, wasn't able to come up? Anyone else? Okay, you all got some. Good. All right. Yep. So the first one, the Quest, let me show here our YouTube live here, is the Quest brand chocolate brownie. They had more flavors. I just didn't want to ruin our budget. I didn't want to get in trouble. I was telling the people that were here earlier that all I wanted to do was just do this in my cart and just give everyone a taste. But I also understand that with weight loss surgery, you can't overdo the eating. So I think that 5 tastings is more than enough for today. We can do more at a different day. All right. So the first thing I looked at is the nutrition facts label, right? The first guideline up there is more than 12 grams of protein. And that refers to one bar, because you're going to be eating half of the bar, so that's a way to make sure that that half of a bar has a good amount of protein, at least 6 or 7 grams of protein, okay? Because again, this is a snack. It's kind of like a more of a emergency type of situation. It's not a big meal. It's something to hold you off before you know that you're able to sit down and have a proper meal. And when I looked at it, it says the serving size. That's the first thing that you have to look at. There are some bars where the serving size, it says 2 bars or half a bar. I don't think that actually is true, but I've seen some that is 2 bars. The important thing is that you look at the serving size, because all the information that is underneath the serving size refers to that serving size, okay? Anyone have any questions about that? Okay. So after I look at the serving size is 1 bar, I scroll down to the first thing that I want to make sure, and it's 20 grams. So it's way above that 12 grams. So that's really, really good for that bar. And then goes the total carbohydrate. This one has 23. I know it goes 1 number above, but that's okay. All right, we don't have to be that strict. If it goes up to 25, I would kind of stay away from that and choose another one that's closer to that range. But 1 number more, that's okay. And then if you would eat half of the bar, that would be 10 grams of protein and around 12 grams of carbohydrate. So, yes?
Where I get confused is on the carbs is the added sugars.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a recommendation on the added sugars versus the total carbs?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's 22 grams of carbs, but
Mm-hmm.
20 of those grams are added sugar, is that not too much versus?
So the thing is that in a bar, it's very rare that you're gonna see no added sugars, unfortunately. We're trying to make the best choice that we can with a product that's man-made. You're right that we have to be careful about added sugars, but as long as you're making sure that that total carbohydrate, which takes into account the natural sugars of the ingredients used plus any added sugar that they've add into it, as long as it falls within that range of 12 to 22, it's okay. And I'm going to talk more about the sugars component of it. But that's a good question, because in general, when you're buying products, you want to avoid products that have a lot of added sugars. But in something like a protein bar that is man-made, it's going to be hard to find something that is all just natural sugars. And at the end of the day, when we're thinking about something like dumping syndrome, it doesn't matter if it's added sugars or natural sugars. Even natural sugars can cause dumping syndrome if you're not keeping an eye at that total carbohydrate. I had a patient not too long ago that told me that she developed dumping syndrome because she ate a banana. And that's natural sugars. That's pretty intense. I actually was surprised because I haven't been working in this in the bariatric field for a very, very long time, so I'm starting to see things for the first time, and that was the first time I heard that. She was actually progressed by the providers, but some people are more sensitive than others. So the point I'm getting to is that no matter if it's added sugars or you want to make sure that that total carbohydrate is in the right range, okay? And then a good way to limit added sugars in your diet is with all the other foods that you consume, the whole foods. When you go to restaurants, the types of sauces that you ordered with foods, the beverages, you know, avoid beverages with sugar. The things that you cook at home, avoiding adding sugars to the foods that you cook at home. So that's where you really have control of that. Is going to be challenging in the protein bars. Okay? All right. Now, the sugars part of it that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to leave that towards the end, because that part of the education is, you know, across the board. It's not just for Quest, okay? So now let's talk about Power Crunch. Power Crunch, they had also a variety of flavors that you could choose from. I think there was like a salted caramel one.
There's a mint chocolate chip, I know.
A mint chocolate chip. Yeah, I honestly couldn't decide. I wanted to give you guys variety and not the same flavor over and over. So maybe, you know, if you tried this flavor, maybe you like the texture, but you don't love the flavor, just try another flavor. Is there one that you really enjoy?
The mint.
The mint chocolate? Yeah, that sounds really good. You've had that one before as well? Okay. So let's look at the nutrition facts label of this one. The serving size for this one is 1 cookie. The protein in the Power Crunch is 14 grams. So it does fall above that 12 grams, which is the guideline. Now, Quest so far is winning on that protein, which is good because since you're only going to have half of the bar, the Quest is giving you more protein. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the choice that you have to make. This is still a good choice because it falls in that guideline for the protein. The total carbohydrate is 8 grams. And this only has, talking about the sugars, it doesn't specify how many added sugars, but this one only has 5 grams of sugar because it's got a natural sweetener, which is the stevia leaf extract. Okay, so this one's very low in sugar. So it falls in the guidelines. How do you guys think about the taste of this one? It's the French vanilla cream.
That's good.
It was good?
Crunchy. Not too sweet.
Okay, so it doesn't taste too sweet? Good. Awesome. All right, so there you go. And then this Power Crunch is the cookies and cream. Even though you're looking at the same brand, I encourage that you still look at the nutrition facts label. Don't necessarily assume that because it's the same brand, it's gonna be equal across the board. They're probably gonna be very, very similar, but I like to train my patients to always look at the nutrition facts label. Don't assume, always double check. So this one, for 1 cookie, is the same. It's the 14 grams of protein, just 1 more gram of carbohydrate, okay? And like 5 calories more. It was 200 calories for the French vanilla cream, and this one is 205 calories. So it's pretty much the same, okay? What did you guys think about cookies and cream? Was it good? You did not like it. Okay. You know why? This was such a biased decision with this flavor because I love cookies and cream, anything. So I thought that this would probably be really good. I haven't tasted it, but I see some people here liked it. So, you know, that's the good thing about tasting. Hopefully this gives you a better idea, and when you go shopping, oh, and I also noticed they sell the boxes, but if you look all the way in the top, they have the individual bars. So you don't have to necessarily buy a whole box to see if you like it or not. You can go, if you look, at least in Walmart, right in the top, they have all the bars individually, so you could get one. Okay? All right. Okay. So this one was not in the list of the examples of good protein bars, but doing a little bit of research and reading about it falls within the guidelines. So I wanted to share it with you. The flavor is Almond Bliss. Okay. So the serving size here is 1 bar. The protein is 20 grams. So that's pretty high protein, way above that minimum requirement. And the total grams of carbohydrate is 22. So it's right at that edge of the higher range for the carbohydrates. Okay? And there's more about this that I'm gonna talk about, but that'll be towards the end. Now, what do you think about this flavor?
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it? I haven't had it. I'm gonna taste some at the end. Anyone liked it?
Coconut was a little strong, but it's kind of reminds you of almond joy or something like that.
Okay, I like almond joys, but sometimes something reminds you of something, doesn't necessarily taste like that. Okay, well, that's the whole idea. You know, you look at the nutrition. That's the most important thing. Don't focus on the flavors first. Focus on the nutrition. If it's got good nutrition, then you can buy a bar and have a taste. Okay. All right. And this is gluten-free. I don't know if anyone that would apply for anyone, but this one is a gluten-free bar. All right. Moving on. This is the Think Thin bars, and those for the NGPG manual. That's one of the examples they provide as an option. It falls within the guidelines. So this one in particular, the serving size is 1 bar, protein is 20 grams of protein, and total carbohydrate is 23. Okay? What did you guys think about the creamy peanut butter Think Thin bar? Good? Did you like any of them?
It's not a
Quest.
Reese's peanut butter
Quest?
cup.
The brownie, chocolate
I like
brownie?
the Quest and the vanilla. rich
And the vanilla?
Yeah, those two.
Okay, I'm sorry, what did you say?
It's not a Reese's peanut butter cup, but.
Right.
It'll
Not
do.
close.
It wouldn't fall in the guidelines if it were. Yeah.
Can't compare, right?
Yeah,
Can't
they
compare.
can.
Okay, okay. So here's my little pet peeve about this kind of food is how it reminds us of those that are not so good.
We don't wanna be reminded of that.
No, right? But when you try to search protein bars, there's not gonna be like a cucumber salad protein bar that's gonna taste good. I mean, it's all sweet stuff, and that reminds us of candy bars and cakes. There was one that was like a party cake, birthday cake one. I'm like,
Oh, that birthday cake one is a
Red velvet.
the birthday cake, what?
On the 1 bars,
Uh-huh.
the birthday cake.
Yeah. That's the only thing I don't like about that. That's why I think that these should be seen as one of those things to have kind of for emergency moments. It's got good protein, it's limited in the carb aspect, so it's not gonna make you, you know, well, it may or may not make you feel weird in your stomach. It's easy to grab, has a long shelf life, so it's a lifesaver for some patients in certain situations. But this is never going to replace, of course, real food. So I want to educate you and tell you about it, but also as a dietitian, I'm always going to promote more, you know, whatever whole food snacks you can create at home. Yes.
But say you're going to a birthday party
Uh-huh.
and you stash the birthday cake flavor in your purse,
Oh,
then you wouldn't feel so bad.
yeah.
Same with the Easter egg hunt and
Mhm.
the peanut butter one in your purse.
Yeah.
While they're all the kids are, you know.
Oh my gosh, you know, I hadn't thought about that. So, okay, I always learn with you guys in these support groups. Maybe you guys should be standing up here and teaching me. Okay, so just in case you didn't hear what our patient said, if you're going to a birthday party, maybe you can bring a protein bar that has the birthday cake flavor in it, and that way you feel like you're having the cake and you don't feel deprived, and it may take care of that sweet craving that you get when you're exposed to those foods around you.
Feeling guilty.
Yeah, exactly, without feeling guilty. And again, because it's meeting that protein guideline, you're getting plenty of protein. That what is one of the benefits of high protein diet? It keeps you full longer. What did you say?
Don't get hungry.
Exactly. It reduces hunger levels. So, and protein is important for wound healing. You know, if you get a cut or you any kind of procedure. It helps with wound healing. It helps with immune health, muscle strength, and bone health. So there's a lot of benefits, and it's not just keeping you satisfied. It's also all those really good things that they do in our bodies. All right, great. So can I get a consensus? How many of you like the best the Quest chocolate brownie? Okay. How many of you like the best one of these Power Crunch?
I like
This one?
that
Okay. I got a feeling about this one. A bad feeling. How many of you like the best the one? No one.
That was a bad
Okay.
flavor.
Huh? What?
That was a bad flavor.
That was a oh man, yeah. And
You
you
got
know,
the
to
cookie
me,
dough or something
almond
covered
bliss.
in it.
I come from the Caribbean, so for me, coconut is just like
exactly.
it just sounded great.
I like
coconut,
I
but
liked it too.
that really didn't have the full coconut
How much people
flavor.
know?
Okay, gotcha.
We liked it, we said it just wasn't our favorite.
Not your favorite, gotcha. Yeah. So, you know, you don't have to give up on it if you didn't like it, or you can try another flavor. That's the whole idea. Who of you like the best the Think Thin? Okay. Alrighty. Now, do you guys have any questions so far?
I have a question that you may be going I've had this sleeve and I'm several years out. So when I eat a protein bar, I'm looking for something that has some nuts or seeds because I like to crush. Are you going to address that?
So, are you saying it because of this?
Yeah. Like,
That's more for patients that are, you know, close still to their surgery date.
yeah, okay.
Because we still don't know. We're not sure if you're going to tolerate that or not, if you're going to have an obstruction of some sort. So if you're far off of surgery, like 6+ months, and I'm not the one to tell you, your surgeon is the best person to ask and say, hey, like I've been tolerating this and that and this and that. I've had some raw veggies. Do you think it's okay if I have something that has nuts and seeds in it? And I feel safe telling you to make sure with them. But it is okay to eat them eventually. You just have to be careful if you're close. If you just had surgery 5 months ago, that's not something you want to experiment with. So you want to try ones that don't have those nuts and seeds and things like that. Good question.
Have you looked at the Premier protein bars? They're 30 grams of protein.
Mm-hmm.
I think I looked, it has 8 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
carbs of-
Yeah, Premier is a good brand. So yeah, I don't if it's not here doesn't mean that it's not good. You have your nutrition guidelines that you know that you can use to follow. So yeah, it absolutely can. Yeah, I don't
You
know.
have to watch the nutrition in it, right?
Right, exactly. And there's something else that I'm going to talk about now that is important to watch.
See, I know I was drinking the Premier protein
Mm-hmm.
shakes, and Dr. Richards said that you're not getting the full 30 grams of protein
Right.
in them. You're only getting 12 grams of protein. Because I couldn't understand why I would drink it and then I would still be feeling like I didn't even drink it at all. I would still be feeling hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would eat maybe 2 hours later,
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't even eat anything at
Mhm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was telling me.
My liquid diet?
Mm?
Could that be what's affecting my liquid diet?
Do you feel a lot of hunger?
Yes.
Yeah, it could be. I can't tell you for sure, but yeah, that's one of the things.
Why? If it says 30, why?
Okay, let me tell you, that's a really good thing to bring up. So here, remember that here you're gonna eat half of the bar. So if the Premier bar, I don't know it by memory, but you said has 30 grams, you're not gonna eat 30 grams. You're gonna eat 15 if you're having half of the bar. the idea behind that is that our bodies, you have to think of it this way. Let's imagine that this here is the absorption site, right? And we have a lot of protein coming in, a lot. Some is gonna get in, but some is not into the absorption site, okay? So there's a limit that's been studied, and it says that it's between 30 grams to 40 or 45 grams, and if you consume all of that in one sitting, you may not absorb all those amino acids from the protein. So that's why we always say you have to spread your protein throughout the day. You can't compensate, let's say if you weren't able to get protein at lunch and you get this all this protein at dinner. That's not the smart way to approach that, because we're not sure if you're going to be able to absorb all of that.
That's interesting.
So in the drink, you were supposed to drink the whole thing. Was it in one sitting or was it throughout the day?
No, because how I usually do it, the best way for me is like I do a protein shake in the morning. Because I take that with my vitamins. And I was doing that, and he was telling me that you're not getting the full 30 grams of protein in there. And because I had a problem with the isolate protein, I can't take it. It's just disgusting. I can't get it down.
Yeah.
All of their products, until I had to find an actual product, which is the Matrix 2.0. I get it at the there's a bariatric pantry store in Oakwood that I go to, and I get all my bariatric. It's a pantry store. I get all my stuff from there. They have like vitamins, they have snacks, they have cereal, anything you can think of, they got it there. And that's where I get my protein powder from. And that has 20 or 23 grams of protein in it.
Did you feel better once
and
you?
That, yeah.
Yeah.
And once I take that, I'm fine. I can drink it. I don't have a problem. I'm not like gagging with it or anything.
So studies show, the guidelines tell us that between 30 to 45 grams is the limit. So it also depends, the nutrition is very individualized, and I try to remind my patients every time I see them, never think that nutrition is just general and applies for everyone. That's why it's so important in this weight loss journey that you have a good relationship with your dietitian, because she's going to be the one to assess how you react to things. And in your case, maybe you weren't absorbing it, and your doctor identified that. So yeah, that's why we may not absorb all of it. So it's better to have.
Even with chicken, fish, even
Yeah.
that, you're still not getting all of the protein.
All the amino acids. You may be, your body, what may be doing to it is metabolizing it and changing it into fat to store as energy, which is, you don't want that either.
Yeah.
So when I counsel my patients, I always try to remind them, protein, it's a balance. You don't want to have too much, because you may not absorb it all, or it may contribute to weight gain, and you don't want to have too little. So if you're unsure of what's too much and what's too little, that's a great question to bring up to your dietitian that's working closely with you.
A couple of years ago, I was helping my neighbor clear his property, really working hard. We brought living trees and wood around. Every once in a while, I'd get this dizzy spell. I'd have a protein bar, and I thought, I'd take a bite of that and cool, and then come right back and
Yeah.
get the rest of the day.
Yeah.
They have protein chips.
And so that's why it's also good for that protein bar to have some carbs in them. We can't think that carbs are evil. Carbs are not evil. It's just that we need to be careful on how much we have. So when you ate that protein bar, the carbs gave you that quick energy that you need right now, because I'm dizzy. And you start absorbing it since it touches your mouth. We start absorbing carbs, those sugars, since it touches your mouth. So that's one of the reasons why you felt better right away. And then the protein allows you to feel that way for maybe another hour or two. So let me go over this very before we run out of time. Sugar alcohols. So sugar alcohols, nutrition facts labels say how many grams of sugar alcohols is present in that product. So what are sugar alcohols? Sugar alcohols are chemically, they're like created by the human. We don't digest them, we partially digest them, and they may have some side effects. So they don't cause your blood sugars to go up, is what happens with sugar alcohol. So that's why when a product has 0 carbs or 0 sugar, it's probably because it has either artificial sweeteners or sugar alcohols. And some examples for you to get familiar with are sorbitol, mannitol, xylitol, maltitol, maltitol syrup, lactitol, so on and so forth.
Anything with a toll.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Right. So one concern about the sugar alcohols is that excess consumption may have a laxative effect, okay? The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which are the gurus in nutrition here in the United States, they advise that greater than 50 grams a day of sorbitol or greater than 20 grams a day of mannitol may cause diarrhea. So, if you ever experience diarrhea or something like that, maybe that's something to think about. It may not be diarrhea, it may be bloating, discomfort. So some people are sensitive to these sugar alcohols, some people are not. So you can make a decision on what bar you're gonna choose depending on how your gut reacts to it, okay? And there's 2 ways to find out if there's sugar alcohol. One, that the nutrition facts label right underneath sugars says sugar alcohols. In this case, it doesn't say it. This Quest 1 doesn't say it. And the other way for me to double check, I always like to double check. I don't know why I don't trust, even though that should be all true, but I always like to double check. It says protein blend, soluble corn fiber, almonds, water, cocoa, processed with alkali, natural flavors, erythritol. It's a tall.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh,
Erythritol.
and I read it. I stopped
Yeah.
at lactitol. Yeah. Oh, and it does say it in the nutrition facts label. I just I didn't see it. So 2 grams. It only has 2 grams. So, that's not gonna cause you any GI symptoms.
Okay.
See, this is really, really good stuff. This one doesn't have sugar alcohols, I remember, because I looked at it this morning. It has artificial sweeteners, sucralose, and it has stevia leaf extract, okay? So that shouldn't cause you any GI symptoms. This one, it has 4 grams of sugar alcohols, and when I look at the ingredients list, maltitol, man, and that's it. So the more you read these things, the better you get at identifying that. I guess that's a good way. Whatever
Yeah.
ends in tall,
Yeah,
T-O-L.
exactly. And you know what? I never even
Yeah.
knew that until you
Yeah.
just put it up there. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay. And the think thin.
Oh,
There goes my
Guess
Reese's
how many
Pieces.
grams of sugar alcohols?
My Reese's peanut butter.
Probably like that, like Wendy.
Yeah. Wow. You knew that, or did you guess? That's not fair. Yeah, 20 grams of sugar alcohols.
Oh,
wow.
So remember, sugar alcohols are safe, okay? They're FDA approved, they're safe to consume, especially if you're not, this should not be every day, This should be more of I wasn't able to create a nice snack or a nice meal. I'm in a hurry, I'm running out. It's better to eat something than not have anything, because we don't expect any of you to be perfect in your meal planning. There's life gets on the way. But if you're not feeling very well after a couple weeks of consuming these, or maybe even days, that might be the reason. So it's good to be aware of that and look at these things, just so that if you notice any symptoms, you can link, oh, maybe it's because of all these sugar alcohols I've been consuming for the past 2 weeks. Okay? And I'd like to know next month if any of you felt well after this support group. That was one of my goals. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope none of them go home and develop some GI problems.
Or
So,
maybe stop on the way home.
oh, just don't tell me, please. So I'm glad that I didn't do this with a cart and walk. Okay? So I just put a reference just to show you where that came from. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is the ones that pretty much create the nutrition Bible for dietitians. So they do a lot of reviews of scientific studies specific to nutrition and all the populations. So that's just one thing to know. Maybe that would be a good thing to write down, just to make sure that you don't go over that. Okay? Do you have any questions about sugar, alcohols, or protein bars, or anything that you wanted to share? Okay, so I want to close with this note, is that real food, whole foods, is never going to replace, we get so many vitamins and minerals and good quality ingredients from whole foods. So of course, I'm always going to encourage you guys to on a weekly basis, make it a priority to plan what you're going to have available in your refrigerator, so that if you need a to-go snack, hopefully that's something you can create from your refrigerator, your pantry, something, kind of farm to table concept. But I bring this to you because I know that's not always possible 100% of the time. So these are good choices for you to make in case you don't have the time to do that. But that's always gold standard. All right? Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If any of you have suggestions of nutrition related topics for support groups, please take my business card and tell me about it. Or if you have any feedback, I probably should be making some evaluation forms for you guys to complete, but that's on the process. If you have any feedback, please be honest with me and send me some emails of whatever it is, and I just want to make this the best as possible for you guys, because you deserve it, and I want you guys to do well. Okay?
That was interesting.
Good.
That was good.
Good. I'm glad. Alrighty then. If anyone needs me to sign, yep. And make sure to sign your name in the sign-in sheet so that I can keep track of that. And don't worry, don't worry about the trash. Okay, all yours.
So our calendar's still the same as
For this? Yes. So.
Good to see you. Take care. Don't forget.
Yeah, that's for sure. My foot, like it's been gone.
I'm glad.
My fault.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Thank you. So what about the Atkins bars? Have you done something about it?
I may have looked at the Atkins bar like 100 different times, and I still don't remember anything about it. I always look, I have to look in the moment, read the nutrition facts label, just as we did, look at the guidelines, look at the protein, look at the carbs, look at the ingredients list, look at the sugar alcohols, and you can make an informed decision based on the knowledge that you learn here, is the idea. I want to teach you guys how to fish. I don't want to fish for you. You see?
Good luck.
She has, vitamins, the protein shake, cereal, pancakes. Yeah, she had like everything inside.
All right.
Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
See you next month.
Okay, see ya. And just wait for me there.
Yeah, but she has it also where you don't have to necessarily go there and